More than 200 people have died and hundreds more remain unaccounted for in Nigeria after the worst floods in 60 years swept through towns following torrential rain.
나이지리아에서 폭우에 이어 60년 만에 발생한 최악의 홍수가 여러 마을을 휩쓸면서 지금까지 200명 이상이 사망하고 수백 명이 행방불명 상태인 것으로 알려졌습니다. Tell us more.
It's really awful. In some areas, there was one area, Mokwa in particular, where the deputy chairman of the government had said they've stopped searching because they don't believe that anybody could have survived. And so we're looking at a huge disaster for the whole country. The National Emergency Management Agency is in the process of providing relief packages to those that are affected. But roads and bridges have been affected by the flood, which means there's a knock-on effect to everybody. Even if you weren't directly affected, you may well still be affected. Floods are common. From April through to October, that's the rainy season for Nigeria. But this was very bad, and it comes on the back of last year, where they also had really, really bad flooding. So it's a huge disaster for them. It's going to take a lot of effort for the people to get back and also to recover the bodies of those who've lost their lives.
Yeah. Let's talk about the casualties here. A lot of people have been unaccounted for.
Yes, if something or someone is unaccounted for, they have not been ticked off the list.
We don't know where they are.
Yeah, so in this case, they have not found them.
Right.
When I went to school, every morning we would have a register where the teacher would take the register and take our names. And if someone was unaccounted for, if someone didn't reply, "Here, sir," then, well, they would go to the office and make sure that they were sick at home or they weren't playing truant. So if something is unaccounted for, we don't know where it is. We can't find it.
I'm so happy you mentioned register because every person I've met from North America that I tell,
they take attendance.
They have never heard of the expression or they're not familiar with it.
No, they take attendance is the American expression.
And they have a roll call.
Roll call, yes.
Yeah, so they used a different expression.
Whereas in the UK, we like the word register.
Register. 출석 부르는 거를 얘기합니다. So if you're not there at school, if the teacher calls your name and no one answers, then you're unaccounted for.
Yeah, unless your mum or your dad has rung the school office, you are unaccounted for.
Yeah, exactly. 그래요. 그러니까 결석했는데 왜 결석했는지 모르는 그런 학생의 경우에도 the student is unaccounted for가 되겠고요. 지금 얘기하고 있는 인명피해에서는 행방불명된 사람들을 얘기하고 있습니다. A lot of people have been unaccounted for.
네.
Now, the floods swept through Nigeria.
Yeah, and if something sweeps through somewhere, it goes through it very quickly and usually over a large area. It's a widespread thing. So we can use it for floods or storms or this kind of weather, hurricanes, typhoons, tornadoes. We can use it for people. I think of whenever, I don't know, Hollywood or New York has some fancy party and you see a celebrity sweep through the red carpet in their beautiful ball gown. So we can use it to say they're having an impact on everything or almost everything around them. Yes. But we often use it for disasters or sometimes for trends. Do you remember when the trend for churros swept through Korea about a decade ago?
I do still like churros, but it's not quite as popular now.
No, I remember there were lines in Itaewon that were round the corner and off who knows where because it was suddenly popular.
Before that, there was the whole trend with, I think it's called roti buns. It's from Southeast Asia.
Yes.
And I don't see any now. So I don't know what happened there.
Well, honey butter also swept through the nation, and I think that's pretty much gone as well.
그러네요. sweep through라는 게 휩쓸고 지나가다라는 뜻이 있어서 지금처럼 유행 얘기할 때 쓸 수도 있고요. 아니면은 실제로 무언가가 휩쓸고 지나간 경우. 지금은 얘기하고 있는 게 floods, 홍수 얘기하고 있는 거죠.
And for today, you know what would be pertinent? Election fever has swept the nation.
그 선거 열기가 나라를 이렇게 휩쓸고 지나가고 있다.
It's not just one small area, it's not just one narrow line, it's the whole country.
그러니까 뭔가 뒤덮는다라는 이미지라고 보시면 되겠고요. 거기에 맞는 거기 맥락에 맞는 해석을 하시면 될 텐데 비유적으로도 쓰고 또 직접적인 의미로도 많이 씁니다. To sweep through. sweeping이라는 말 자체는 빗자루로 뭔가 이렇게 쓴다라는 의미가 있어요.
Yeah, but when we sweep, we generally do it in a wide stroke, a wide arc.
That's
So
right.
therefore, we have that image of it covering a large area.
아, 그러네요. 이렇게 쓱싹쓱싹이 아니라
네.
휙 이런 느낌, 싹 이런 느낌인 거죠. It's a large area. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. More than 200 people have died and hundreds more remain unaccounted for in Nigeria after the worst floods in 60 years swept through towns following torrential rain. Let's move on to the next headline.
The Spanish government has ordered the closure of tens of thousands of online listed short-term rentals, citing violations of tourism lodging regulations, in response to criticism that such rentals worsen housing shortages and push up rent prices.
스페인 정부가 관광 숙박 규정 위반을 이유로 수만 개의 단기 임대 숙소에 폐쇄 명령을 내렸습니다. 이는 같은 임대 행태가 주택 부족 및 임대료 상승을 부추긴다는 비판에 따른 조치로 보입니다.
I mean, Spain is not a huge country. It's a sizable country. And yet it had the second most visitors after France last year.
Wow.
98 million visitors visited Spain.
Okay.
So there's been this huge surge of people letting out their homes on certain platforms for bed and breakfast apps. B&Bs.
Yeah.
And that means that there's been less houses, less apartments for rent in big cities like Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia. There's been a big backlash over the past 12 months or so. And the Spain Social Rights, Consumer Affairs and 2030 Agenda Ministry has now demanded that 66,000 of these property rental listings on the B&B site need to be removed because they do not meet tourist accommodation regulations.
Yeah.
So I think, one, they're cracking down on people not doing their due diligence, but two, they want to make sure that housing is affordable for every Spanish citizen.
Yeah, you don't want tourism to affect the locals in a negative way. If anything, it should be positive.
Yes, but unfortunately, when you get too many tourists, it can be a big issue.
Absolutely. All right, let's have a look at this word here. Online listed.
Yes, if something is online listed, it is listed on the internet. You go to a site and it will say, you can rent this place and this place and this place for 1 night, 2 nights or whatever.
Listed가 등록되다, 목록에 오르다. So online listed, 온라인에 등록이 됐다. What about lodging regulations?
Yes, so lodging is accommodation. So it's going to be a hotel, a hostel, a yogwan, a B&B, or whatever it might be. Anything where you're staying a night or a couple of nights, that would be considered to be lodging. You lodge there. So lodging regulations are the rules, the official rules, the government rules about what the accommodation needs to do, what they need to provide, how much space there is, or anything, all of that.
숙박, lodging, L-O-D-G-I-N-G, 규정, regulations. 그래서 lodging regulations, 숙박 규정이고요. The industry, when we talk about hotels and other lodging facilities, is called the hospitality industry, I think.
Yeah, and that also gets covered under the service industry. So there are lots of different terms when it comes to hotels and other accommodations. The difference is hospitality can also be restaurants and cafes, as well as the service industry.
Any service that's being hospitable to
Exactly.
the people.
As opposed
welcoming.
to lodging and accommodation, that's always going to be about staying the night.
Exactly. Well, let me read this headline one more time. The Spanish government has ordered the closure of tens of thousands of online listed short-term rentals, citing violations of tourism lodging regulations in response to criticism that such rentals worsen housing shortages and push up rent prices. Okay, let's move on to the final headline.
The government of Bali, Indonesia, has announced plans to ban the production of water bottles smaller than 1 litre in an effort to tackle the island's growing waste problem, which has been linked to several environmental disasters.
인도네시아 발리 주 정부는 그간 여러 환경 재해의 원인을 제공하며 점점 악화하고 있는 섬 내 쓰레기 문제 해결을 위해 1리터 미만 생수병 생산을 전면 금지하기로 했습니다.
Yeah, the problem is Bali is full. not necessarily full with tourists, but its landfill sites
Yeah.
are almost at full capacity. And a lot of the waste in those landfills are single-use plastics, and particularly these smaller water bottles. So the idea is this ban is going to come in January. It's going to take effect then. And it just means that if you're a tourist, you're going to have to be very careful about what you buy. You're going to buy big bottles or you're going to have a tumbler, as I do today. I think we're a tumbler-friendly program, Sue.
Yes. Well, Bali, Indonesia is a very popular honeymoon destination for Koreans.
Absolutely. It's a gorgeous place.
Yeah.
But the problem is there's over-tourism there. There's issue of too much tourism and overdevelopment, and that's led to lots of issues. It's not just landfill sites. It's also environmental damage. And like talking about Nigeria, they've had issues with torrential downpours, with widespread flooding across the island. So there's lots of things they have to take care of. And, well, plastic is certainly up there on the list.
We have to be responsible travelers when we travel.
Absolutely.
And Bali itself is trying to take these responsible measures. So in an effort to do something means
You're
what?
trying to do it. The word effort is the sense of you putting energy into something or trying to do something. So in an effort to more means while trying to do this, I'm doing this.
그래요. 뭐뭐를 하기 위해서 뭐뭐 하기 위한 일환으로 in an effort to wake up in the morning, you set your alarm. 아침에 일어나기 위해서 알람을 맞추죠.
And in an effort to wake up properly in the morning, I make myself 3 cups of coffee.
Oh, wow. 3 cups of coffee. That's a lot of caffeine. Or you could say, in an effort to improve my English, I tune into Morning Special.
Absolutely, yes.
뭐뭐 하기 위해서, in an effort to do something. 자, environmental disasters는요?
Environmental meaning to do with the environment, to do with ecology, to do with the planet and our forests or oceans or mountains or whatever it may be. And a disaster, well, that's when something bad happens that damages the area or destroys the area. So it's anything that is going to severely impact, negatively impact the island or the forests or the beaches or whatever it may be.
Sure. 자, 그러니까 environmental disaster는 어떤 환경적인 재난이라고 볼 수도 있겠죠. Well, here's the headline one more time. The government of Bali, Indonesia has announced plans to ban the production of water bottles smaller than 1 litre in an effort to tackle the island's growing waste problem, which has been linked to several environmental disasters.